Moving on center stage, on Monday evening, 50-year-old Vimal's son was killed by a gang of men because Santosh had dared to protest against sexual harassment. The grief-stricken mother is battling cancer, her husband is no more, and she has 2 other children. Who will stand up for Vimal and her dead son? Can we forget that he was the young man who had the courage to stand up when a woman's dignity was being attacked? Can India look away? How many more Keenans, Rubens and Santoshes will have to give up their lives before we as a country wake up?
"20-year-old Santosh had to pay with his life for confronting a group of 5 youth who allegedly passed lewd remarks at a girl. While his attackers have been arrested, the girl has denied that the scuffle was over teasing. Santosh was on his way home after work along with his friend when a group of boys started harassing the girl. The gang accosted him and stabbed him repeatedly before fleeing from the spot. Santosh's attackers also injured another person who tried to intervene.
Santosh came running here, but one of the boys had a knife with which they used to kill pigeons in the neighboring areas and eat them. So with that knife, Santosh was stabbed right here in this building.
Santosh was the sole earning member of his family. His father is no more, and his mother, who's battling cancer, is in deep shock.
क्या हो गया मेरे को मालूम नहीं, मेरे को लड़का बोलने का है, आपका लड़के को कोई मार रहा है, इसलिए मैं नीचे जाते तो मेरे को पहले ही हॉस्पिटल लेके गए, इधर कर लो।
लड़के के फैमिली में खुद एक अकेला ही अर्निंग पर्सन था, उसकी मॉम, उसके डैड नहीं है।
The incident is reminiscent of the killing of Amboli residents. The police on Tuesday arrested the 5 accused, 4 of whom are minors.
ये सब 16-17 साल के हैं, तो इनको हमने ताबे में लिया है और इनको आज रिमांड जुवेनाइल कोर्ट में पेश करने वाले हैं।
The question is, have criminals come to believe that they can get away with murder as no one will dare to intervene or speak out? Santosh died protecting a girl who claims the scuffle was not about her. Cops are now saying that the fight between Santosh and the other boys was not over teasing. They're now choosing to go with the girl's version, who simply denied any teasing.
लड़कों ने मेरी छेड़छाड़ी नहीं की थी, लड़कों का अपने में बारे में चला था और उन्होंने बोला भी होगा जो कुछ वो संतोष को बोला, मेरे से बात नहीं हुई है।
Keenan, Reuben and Santosh. How many more have to die protecting the honor of our women? Our laws have glaring loopholes and our criminals know they can get around them. Matters drag in courts for years as the case fades from public memory.
Till now nothing has happened. I think so they are not taking it seriously, and yes, we are going on losing youngsters in this country, and especially this place.
They should know that there are laws behind it. They should know that every law is implemented as on another on themselves as well.
Will anyone stand up for this brave heart who refused to look away when a young woman was targeted by teasers? Can we look away and allow Santosh's death to go in vain? With Vidya from Mumbai, Chandni for Headlines Today.
My first question on center stage is to Shaina NC of the BJP. She joins me live from Mumbai. Shaina, when Keenan and Reuben were murdered last year by sexual harassers, there was national outrage for many days. We on Headlines Today had campaigned that story. We'd heard from the family. And, you know, there was a real sense that there was enough anger to, you know, sort of ensure that something like this perhaps never really happens again. And anger is a deterrent. Clearly not, Shaina.
Absolutely not. And I think the kind of outcry we had seen in Mumbai post Keenan and Reuben, who almost became famous posthumously,
yes,
we were only hoping that this kind of a situation would never arise again. But when one hears of Santosh's case, you have clearly a couple of points that come to mind. First, is it that we are not scared of the law, or is it that the law is not implemented in due course of time? Unfortunately, we all have been discussing the role of the bystander, where the bystander, even if he doesn't have a legal implication, we've always said that the bystander should have a moral implication or a moral duty to intervene.
Yes.
Here you see a braveheart in Santosh, who's 20 years old, who intervenes only to lose his life. So I really wonder who will stand up for whom, because nobody knows whether anyone is going to be protected by the law, by a weak administration, and a state that has totally lost all value of law and order. When we talk about teasing, is it not the duty of the state to ensure that the guilty are brought to task
Yes.
immediately and through fast-track courts? In your capsule itself, you had Mr. Santosh say how he's so disappointed because nothing has happened. So if that nothing has happened is going to show poor political will, I don't see a bright future for the state of Maharashtra.
It's a lethal combination, is it not, Shaina? On the one hand, you've got this gross lack of political will, you know, the slow sort of trudging pace of the Indian criminal justice system. But there's also another bigger question about Mumbai as a city, isn't there? We've seen a number of cases in the recent past that have only accentuated and highlighted what you mentioned just now, the complete indifference, complete apathy of the bystander. What has happened to Mumbai, a city that was once famous for caring about the other?
I don't think it's about apathy of the bystander. Here you have a bystander who chose to intervene and has lost his life the way Keenan and Reuben lost their lives. Santosh has also lost his life.
Yes.
So I think it is, if at all, a weak state where there is no law and order, where there is no fear of law, and where there is a weak police and an even weaker state government that does clearly nothing. If the state government sent out a strong signal in the first incident itself, the perpetrators of the crime would not choose to continue because they know that they'd be caught and they'd be brought to task. Having said that, if you have this Congress NCP government which chooses to respond and react so late and in a lot of cases do not even reach the logical conclusion,
yes,
what kind of hope do we as women in a state like Maharashtra have? I would like to only bring to light that, you know, in a city like Mumbai, we have seen phenomenal kind of intervention by public at large. We have seen youngsters who have come forward when there was the outcry. But when you have a weak administration and when there is no fear of law, what kind of hope can we expect? So I really think that it's not just about being ashamed for one day or having this outcry for 1 or 2 days. It needs to be a movement and there needs to be some serious introspection at all levels.
Well, it needs to be a systemic change, really, especially when you're faced with something as terrifying as huge systemic apathy and the fact that the criminal justice system simply doesn't move. Shaina NC, thanks very much for joining us this evening here on Center Stage. We will continue to keep the focus on stories of this kind. Moving on, in a horrifying incident, this is our third story this evening, from Bangalore, a 4-year-old girl was raped for a whole month by her school van cleaner. The incident came to light when the victim fell ill and complained of pain to her parents. Medical reports have confirmed rape. The van cleaner, Sabarna, would allegedly escort the girl to the toilet and abuse her. Concerned parents turned up in huge numbers to voice their anger and raise the issue with school authorities. The accused has been arrested and the Karnataka Deputy Chief Minister R. Ashok has promised stern action against him.
LKG ಮಗು ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಒಂದು ಅತ್ಯಾಚಾರ ಆಯಿತು ಅಂತ ಬಂದ್ವಿ ಸರ್ ನಾವೆಲ್ಲ ನಾನು ಹೊರಗೋಗಿದ್ದೆ ಬೇರೆಯವರಿಂದ ವಿಷಯ ತಿಳಿತು ಬಂದೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಬಂದು ನೋಡೋದ್ರಷ್ಟರೊಳಗೆ ಮಗು ತಾಯಿ ಇದ್ರು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಆಗಿದೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು ಎಲ್ಲ ಆಮೇಲೆ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಹತ್ರನೂ ಎಲ್ಲ ಹೋಗಿ ಬಂದ್ರಂತೆ
We have received a complaint from the parents of that school. We have registered the case, that's all.
So now, first information, we booked the case and we will take action. Serious action will be doing police officers also.
We're getting a word from Headlines Today's Pratibha Raman, who's spoken to the parents. She's spoken to her sources in the Bangalore police as well. Pratibha, just take us through the investigation and what action is being contemplated now.
Well, as of now, the accused has been produced before the court, and they are waiting to see what kind of interrogation can take place, because they're waiting to. They are also waiting for the medical report. As of now, the medical report has not been revealed as yet to prove that this was a rape or just an attempt to rape. But even otherwise, the school management has taken up the responsibility. In fact, I did speak to the principal, and the principal does say that we will take ownership for this. We'll extend all sort of support as well as cooperation for the parents. But the parents are refusing to speak to the media. They are very, very disturbed and distraught, and it's pretty natural because the child has gone through this kind of traumatic experience for about a month, and the poor child did not even know who to talk to. And finally, it was the parents who probed further, trying to distinguish, and the child was actually asked to identify who the accused is. And finally, when all this has happened, all they need is justice. They want this accused to be punished. The school management in the meantime has to take several kinds of action. This is like a wake-up call. All schools must have CCTVs installed. All schools must have female attendants. There has to be counseling centers. This is the big question that are doing the rounds in Bangalore as of now, Shiv.
Very, very disturbing questions for parents, teachers and authorities who run educational institutions in Bangalore. But stories like these do come up every now and then to remind us of the monsters that really live among us. Pratibha, thanks for getting us that story. Continue to tell us more about what really happens as far as that investigation is concerned. The Deputy Chief Minister has told Headlines Today that the strictest possible action will be taken against that man, imagine, who raped a 4-year-old girl for over a year in that school.